open. Just come in.
And I'll blow your house down.
You're right. It is the big bad wolf, and he's probably full of hot air, too.
Yeah, I got the right house, all right. But you must be Little Red Riding Hood. Uh-huh. The hood that makes me see red every time I think about how she's taking a hoodwinked old man for a ride.
Not only can't you get your fairy tales straight, but you can't get your facts either.
Don't be so sure. In this particular fairy tale, Little Red Riding Hood happens also to be a little pig. Oh, perhaps I should say greedy.
Will you just state your business and get out of here?
No, my business is with Charles.
Well, I figured you weren't here on a social call. Well, he's not here. Let me take a message.
The information I have is so important, so damaging to a certain Little Red Riding Hood that I think I want to deliver it in person.
Miriam, is that you?
Yeah, I got off work early. Did I get any mail?
It's on top of the piano.
Good.
Well, how'd your day go?
Oh, it went all right.
You don't sound like you mean that.
No, really, everything was just fine. In fact, I even got invited to lunch by a good-looking guy.
Oh, did you go?
No, he was just trying to make Vicky jealous.
Good decision. You can lose more friends that way.
He sure was good-looking, though. A little bit too smooth, or maybe it's slippery for me.
Yeah.
Besides, right now I'm more interested in two other men.
Oh?
Frederick and Paul. I was hoping there'd be a letter from Frederick today.
Oh, that's what's worrying you. But don't be discouraged. It'll take time.
Well, it's been almost 2 weeks since I wrote him.
Well, remember, England isn't just a hop, skip, and a jump away, you know.
I know, but still, I just keep wondering what he's thinking, how he's feeling. You know, if he even understands how much I miss him from that letter.
Oh, everything is going to be all right. You'll see.
Well, what if he can't forgive me? And what if he doesn't even answer that letter?
Hold on now, hold on. The good Lord knows how much you love your son. Why don't you just put your worries in his hands, like the Bible says?
Okay. If only I could.
And listen to me preaching to you. I'm guilty of the same thing. I take my worries about Jean and Carl and put them on one hand, hand them to the Lord, and then take the other hand and take them right back.
Okay, I guess we both need to be reminded. Have you heard anything from Carla and Jimmy?
Well, Jean tried to call Jimmy once, but there was no answer, and he hasn't tried since.
Do you think they'll come back?
Oh, the Lord only knows, honey.
But at least Jean tried to call them. That's a very good sign.
Jean called Jimmy, not Carla. He misses his son like you miss yours.
Well, maybe Jean's calling Jimmy for the same reasons that I wrote to Frederick instead of Paul. See, I really want to know how Paul feels about me, but I guess I'm just afraid to ask him directly. I don't know that I could handle his reaction.
Well, you're going to have to face Paul sooner or later.
I know. It's just easier to take that first step through someone who's less threatening, or someone you hope might at least be more forgiving.
It could be. I know Jimmy brought Jean and Carla back together the last time. But of course, you know, that didn't keep them together. You know, parents have to learn how to solve their own problems and stop depending on children.
You know what? Jean is probably more anxious to get back with Carla than you realize.
Oh, he loves her and misses her very much. Matter of fact, he came home today kind of early from work, depressed and kind of moping around. But I don't know as how he's going to do anything about it, if any at all.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he just wouldn't go on out to Lake Tahoe and try to join them.
Well, he mentioned leaving all right, but not for Lake Tahoe. He's thinking about going somewhere else to live.
You're bluffing, Harold. I got nothing to hide.
No, Charles isn't going to believe you this time. You know what amazes me, how you have managed to get away with so much for so long.
It amazes me how Charles has put up with your stupidity and troublesomeness so long.
You've done everything in your power to get your hands on his money, haven't you? Seduced him, alienated his daughter from him, deceived him, playing on his sympathies.
I love Charles as a person. As something that I realize you couldn't possibly understand because you don't have an honest emotion in you, let alone an honest woman working for you. I mean, you must be the only attorney in town who's got a ex-hooker to greet his clients.
You know, even before Babs went straight, she was more honest than you are. At least her clients knew what she was and how much it was going to cost them before they got involved.
Like I said, Harold, you're bluffing. I mean, you wouldn't be saying these cruel things about me if you weren't threatened by Charles's love for me. But he's not going to let you come between us. He's going to see right through you like he's done every single time.
We'll see.
Are you here because of what Miriam thought she saw?
You'll find out when Charles gets here.
Look, you're not being very sensitive to someone in my condition. Now, will you stop playing games and just get right to the point?
Well, I thought you liked playing games.
Oh, excuse me. It's time for your therapy, Miss Lawson.
Oh, look, Tab, can you see that I'm busy?
It's not going to bother me.
Well, look, I don't want any therapy right now.
It's important that we continue your regular therapy if you ever want to walk again.
And we wouldn't want that to happen now, would we?
Look, no cheap thrills for you. Why don't you just go wait over there by the
Yes,
desk?
ma'am. My pleasure.
I was hoping, praying that her condition would improve, but... Well, Mercy Hospital has the best trauma unit in the entire state.
You told me.
I did? Oh, boy, I'm starting to forget what I've told who, when, where, I don't know.
Ben, listen. You've got to get some rest. Now, I insist that you stay with me and Peter tonight.
No, I'll sleep better here. I won't leave her, Terry. In fact, I'm going to take a leave of absence when she's transferred.
You should schedule the secondary surgery Dr. Egan wants on your hand as soon as possible. Lori would want you to.
I will. I promise. But once Lori's better.
Ben, this is a serious injury. The chances of you
Lori
regaining...
is the only thing that matters to me, Terry.
You are a professional. You know better. You could jeopardize your career. Oh, what's the use?
She's so beautiful. So helpless. How could that animal do this to her?
We can only be thankful she wasn't raped, Ben.
Yes, but to her, Terry, what difference does it make? What is going on inside her mind? What is tormenting her? What is keeping her from being the Lori I love so much? I mean, she might as well have been raped for the way this trauma is destroying her.
Look, why don't you just leave? Evidently, Charles is not going to be here.
Patience, Nancy.
Well, therapy session started. Harold.
Charles?
Charles, he has been harassing me all afternoon. Will you please tell him to leave?
Does this look like harassment? Charles, I have something that's very important I have to talk to you about right away.
Well, I assume you do, but in the future, try not to upset Nancy.
Oh, I don't think there'll be any problem with that. You suppose we could talk in private?
Would you please leave us alone?
No, I won't. I have a right to be here.
It's okay. Nancy can stay. It concerns her.
Oh, well, I'll check on dinner. All right, thanks, Harold. Well?
I learned something very disturbing today about the purchase of the Lindsay house. Terry has neither requested nor received any money from Nancy or anybody else.
What?
Now, I don't know what Nancy did with the $5,000 you gave her or what she intended to do with another $5,000, but it wasn't for the house.
Nancy?
Well, Charles, I'm just as surprised as you are. Of course I gave it to Terry. I mean, she's lying.
Prove it.
Well, you proved that I didn't.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard to do. Simple matter of tracing a check, looking into some recent bank deposits.
Well, there's a much easier way to check up. I'm sure that Nancy got a receipt.
Well, Terry didn't give me a receipt, and I forgot to ask her for one.
You didn't get a receipt.
No.
That's because Terry never received any money.
Look, whose lawyer are you supposed to be anyway? Charles, I got the check, I cashed the check, I gave Terry $5,000 in cash.
You mean you made the check out to Nancy?
Yes, I did.
Well, look, I don't know what Terry's trying to pull. You do believe me, don't you, Charles?
Frankly, I don't quite know what to believe. But I am certainly going to get to the bottom of it.
Moving away?
Yes, Gene just won't admit it. Not even to himself. That he's running away from his problems with Carla.
Well, that's so hard to understand about Gene. I mean, he's had such a responsible job with Jason Prescott. He has to problem solve all day long.
I know, but it's different when the problem is who you're living with. Gene's my son, you know, and I admire him in many, many ways. But there's a little something about Gene somehow that just doesn't set too well. A weakness like his father had.
Well, I thought you had a good marriage.
Oh, let me tell you about a good marriage. Now, a good marriage is accentuating the positive and eliminating the negative.
What do you mean?
Overlooking the faults and praising the good. Now, James had a way of blaming whatever happened to him on other folks. You know, whenever he lost a job or was laid off, it was because he was black or somebody didn't like him. Never because of what he did or he didn't do.
But Gene is not like that.
No, not about a job. And you know, I admire Gene for his accomplishments, but the principle is still the same. James would always blame the problems in our marriage on me. And if I said he was inconsiderate to me, he would always say it was my fault. I expected too much of him. It was my attitude.
So you think Gene is the same way now?
Well, I hope I raised him differently. But you know, I must admire Carla for demanding much more in Gene and not settling for that way he has of not facing up to things.
Well, I can relate to what you're saying. I can. Because for as long as I can remember, I was always blaming my unhappiness on the others around me. His daddy, mother, Paul, even little Frederick. If it wasn't their fault, I thought it was their responsibility to take care of the problem for me. And you know what? It wasn't until I had no one except myself and God to turn to that I finally began to realize how weak and shallow I really was.
Now, you see, you faced up to the truth, and that made you stronger. And that's what I want Gene to do, just to take hold of his marriage and not run from it. You know Babs is leaving us pretty soon?
No, you're kidding, not Babs.
Oh, yes.
You two talking about me?
Well, I was just telling Miriam that you were leaving us.
Why, don't you like it here?
Sure.
So why move?
Well, she thinks Ronnie will find out where she is and make trouble.
I just don't want nobody to get hurt on account of me, that's all.
Well, you're safe now. We just do things like we've been doing, and everything will be all right.
You don't know Ronnie or Lance. They got ways, believe me.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, if you start running from Ronnie now, you're gonna have to keep running.
Miriam's right, honey. We're a family now. We'll stand up to Ronnie if we have to.
That's right, it's one for all and all for one.
Look, you guys, you don't seem to realize. Ronnie had Lance beat me up and throw me out of a car. Now, I don't want nothing like that to happen to either one of you.
And we don't want that to happen to you again either. Babs, I want you to stay.
2 out of 3, I guess you're staying.
I don't know what to say.
Well, just say you won't leave. Besides, you two have been like my daughters to me.
Thanks. Both of you.
I guess that means you're kind of like the sister I never had.
Well, yeah, I never had a sister neither. Or a mom. At least not a real one.
Well, you got one now.
Oh, a family, huh? Yeah, I can dig that. You know, this is gonna be a real first. Hey, sis, can I borrow some of your clothes?
All I'm asking is that my staff and I be allowed to do our jobs without any interference from Russ.
Now, can you be more specific?
He's now investigating all my nurses.
I thought we discussed that investigation this morning.
Well, as I recall, you told me as director of nursing to take care of it.
I'm surprised that you're not grateful for Russ's help.
He's not helping. In case you haven't heard, morale is at an all-time low here at Kingsley General, especially among my nurses. Russ's investigation has hardly been what you'd call discreet. News is traveling very quickly.
The fact that we're considering some changes ought to keep them on their toes, inspire them to work harder in order to keep what they have.
Not when they're already underpaid and overworked. More pressure will just inspire them to look for jobs elsewhere. Several already have, including Nancy and David Casista, the dietitians.
Let them go.
I can't believe you won't see what Russ is doing to this hospital.
I know that Russ is a little zealous, but he's only doing his job. Russ has the makings of a fine administrator one day. Now, I know you can't see that from your vantage point, but he has. In fact, he reminds me of myself when I was his age. I'm training him well.
Maybe too well. Russ is also very ambitious. He seems to be enjoying doing your job so much, maybe he wants your title.
I doubt that. I have confidence in Russ.
I don't.
Are you okay? No, this is your vacation. You can't be bored.
I'm not.
I know you couldn't be with everything I've bought you in the last 2 weeks. Tell you what, you can come see my show tonight.
If you don't mind, I'd like to see a late movie tonight.
Thanks a lot.
I didn't mean it like that, Mom.
Since when my favorite fan gets tired of watching his mama sing.
You're great, Mom, but...
I know. Too much of a good thing, huh? I understand. But let's do something special before then. You have any suggestions?
We could call Dad and Grandma.
We could. But it might be better if we wait until tomorrow.
You always say that, Mom. Why?
As I keep waiting for your dad to call first.
But he probably already called when we were out.
If he did, he could have left a message.
But why don't you want to call him, Mom?
Because I don't have anything to say to him that I haven't said before. I keep hoping that the longer I wait to talk to him, the more he'll want to hear what I have to say. Does that make sense?
Sort of. But you don't want to call him because you're mad at him, right?
I'm not mad. I'm hurt.
Because he didn't call?
And because he won't listen to what I have to say when we do talk.
I wish he was here.
Me too. I'm sorry, I don't want to, use you to get to him. I apologize. Forgive me?
Does that mean I get to call Dad?
Yes, it does.
You mean you want to borrow some of my clothes?
Well, if you don't mind.
Oh, no. I'm just surprised, that's all. You've always said that I dress too conservatively.
Yeah, I did. But, you know, you look like a lady. A pretty lady.
Well, thank you, Babs.
Besides, I figure that stuff will look a little different on me anyway.
Babs, you're a little bit taller than Miriam.
Oh, I wear my stuff shorter than that anyhow.
Well, it'll be just fine. You just let me know when you want to borrow one.
How about now?
Well, now, this would have to be clean.
Well, I'll take a rain check on that one, but there's a couple of more in your closet there that, you know, I kind of got my eye on. Come here and I'll show you where they're at. Oh, what if that's Lance or Ronnie?
Oh, nonsense. Hello? Carla, it's so good to hear from you. How are you and Jimmy?
Oh, we're a little homesick.
Oh, well, when are you coming home?
I'm not sure. The engagement may be extended another week, maybe 2.
Oh.
It's for the best, Mama.
Well, I miss you and Jimmy very much, and someone else here does too.
Yeah? Sure. Well, listen. Jimmy can't wait to talk to you. Here he is.
Hi, Grandma.
Jimmy, it's so good to hear your voice.
I miss you a lot.
Oh, I miss you too, honey. And I want you to hurry up and come home, you hear?
I sure do, Grandma. But we can't, at least not yet.
I almost believed you myself.
Well, let's just hope that Charles believes me. If I lose him because of this, it's gonna be all your fault. I mean, between Miriam and this.
Just stick to your stories.
Well, I warned you this would happen if we pushed too soon for this money.
And I warned you what I'd do if you don't pay up.
Well, you can't really expect the money after what's just happened this afternoon.
Nothing's changed.
Well, you're gonna have to wait until after we're married. I mean, I can't get it before then. It's impossible. You should be able to see that by now.
Like I said, there are other options to keep my secrets until the money comes in.
Oh, don't make me sick.
Don't act so repulsed. You've already sold your body to the Social Security set. You're going to enjoy me for a change.
You're impossible and disgusting.
Nothing's impossible. As far as disgusting, we can debate that afterwards.
And what if I refuse?
Then I squeal to Charles that you can walk all the time, and you're going to lose him for sure. Cheer up, Nancy. I'm doing you a favor.